Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the final word. Leeds United 2, Everton 2. We are joined by Kayne and Dan off Hands Tours, famous coach. That's how we have to introduce you. Off Hands Tours.
Yeah, the most famous coach going,
you
isn't it?
You are the representatives of Hands Tours. So.
Well, you know, sometimes.
I mean, all the time. All the time. So they were there on Saturday. So no one better to give us a view on Saturday. Everton's first away game in, what was it, 500 and blah, blah, blah days. I'm so happy. I'll be so happy after tonight when everyone's played 2 home games so they can stop going, this is the first game. That's so, to make it like it's a big deal. We don't care. Yeah. We know. We know now. Anyway, it was 500 odd days. Everton have played away. And tough game. Always looked like it was going to be a tough game on paper. Obviously, it was a tough game last year. Everyone expecting Leeds... their first home game in the Premier League. They all got the flags, which are now mostly on eBay.
Yeah,
seen
they'll
last
be
night.
Everywhere. There's some Everton flags that ended up in a festival on Saturday.
There you go. There you go.
Straight after it.
But a decent draw, decent point, but tinged with probably should have won it.
Probably should have won it, honestly. I walked out really frustrated, to be honest, because there was chances there what we really should have taken to win the game. Obviously, before the game, it's a tough game on paper. Leeds' first home game with fans. Atmosphere was really loud, hostile. So I thought in the back of my mind, maybe we might struggle here today. But to be honest, I got to be honest, I thought we were really organised in that first half and kept them really quiet. Didn't have many clear-cut chances, did they? But on the whole, yeah, I'd say it's a good point, but as I said, there was chances in the game where you thought, yeah, you take them, you win your game, and that's the difference, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's one of them where, obviously, you know how well they can keep the ball. So, you know, you're not going to you're going to have to try and hit them on the break because, obviously, they keep the ball well and, like, they're really tough to break down, I think, and under Bielsa, one of them teams that they constantly change the formation as well. So you can't stick to one style. You have to sort of ride the waves with them and then break with your chances. And I felt we did all right. I thought Alan was outstanding, to be honest, because I think he was our main player in that game purely because he suited their sort of style of play. Because obviously we needed that player who could win the loose balls and break up their play and then start our attacks. I thought one thing that he did that I don't really recall him doing last season that much was whenever he won the ball, he wouldn't just make that pass. He bursted forward. He was making runs forward with the ball, carrying the ball. That's the player that we signed from Napoli, which I don't think we saw a lot of last season. I feel like he was more of a sweeper in the midfield where he'd win the ball and then Demarai would carry the ball.
Yeah. I was when I seen the lineup, I was a bit shocked actually that he played because he went with Iwobi and went Gray and Richarlison. And
it was basically how we finished the game against
Southampton,
wasn't it? But apart from
playing away and playing a team like you're saying, I'm playing a Leeds team that you know we're going to have a lot of possession. I thought, are we going to have enough in midfield? But it is the fact that Alan and Demarai started the season so well. Those two, he's get. I know it's only early days, but he's sort of define their roles really early, and it suits them a lot better. And it's dead weird. I think you've just said there about Alan last season, or Demarai said himself that he's asked me to do this. Yeah, it's like, well, what were they doing last season then? Like, because they didn't even. When you look at those two last season, no one can ever go, oh, they were rubbish, because they weren't. They were actually in spells really good. But he's so far in the 2 games, and I know it's only early, he seems to have found what suits them and what works for both of them. And as I said, I was worried thinking, because that to me was like all Leeds midfield were going to be on those two. Yeah, I thought they were both excellent.
Yeah, definitely. Well, to be honest with Alan Demarai last season, I thought they were just too old and mids at times. You'd just stay in the centre and wouldn't even dare to go forward. But yesterday in Southampton alone, they were just everywhere, you know, all over the pitch. And I just want to say too, Iwobi and Gray, right and left, they were dropping back too. So we had a really good shape, I thought. But both halves, we were really good. The shape was there. And it's really good to see, like, especially with the likes of Iwobi, who's had probably a tough time at Everton. And,
you know what I mean? He's been rubbish. He's been rubbish, mate.
Shit,
Let's be honest.
Awful. He's been awful.
Tough time.
But he's been awful. But Which Saturday I thought he stuck to his position really well, and we squeezed him into the middle of the pitch, and he was getting forced out wide, like I said to you before, forced to pass it to bloody Luke Ayling, he couldn't do nothing with the ball, do you know what I mean? So keeping the shape there at Leeds, when you've got the atmosphere on the back like that, very important. And then the first 25 minutes or so, we kept them quiet, didn't we? And what I was going to say about Demarai and Alan, 2 minutes in at Southampton, gets a shot on goal straight away. Very refreshing to see. 30 seconds at Leeds, Demarai straight on at goal, getting shots outside the box straight away. But that's good to see. And that's how you get goals in midfield. And our problems last year, we didn't get no goals in midfield.
No one was taking shots.
Exactly.
No one was taking shots. No, I thought first 20 minutes, I thought it was about keeping them quiet, even though we didn't keep them quiet. The atmosphere was amazing, let's be honest. It was good atmosphere. But we did keep them quiet on the pitch. We stopped them from playing. Yeah. They had barely any chances. You know, Bamford didn't do much. And it was like a Nottingham game, wasn't it? Yeah. I know the possession, we'll look at the stats later, but the possession was nuts for them. But they didn't do anything with it, and I thought that shape was really important. And we prodded and we probed, and we got the goal at the right time. From like 30 minutes in, just at the right time for us, that. And you know, you were in the away end. What was that like, Dan? You know, the penalty situation, because you know, when it came up, it looked like it was like one of those where you go, that's a penalty, that, and then never given. No, like those, like the old-fashioned little tricks that defenders use. So what was the sense of the feeling in the way end?
Where I saw him go down, but then from where the angle we were, because obviously it's the other end of the ground from where the away end is, I saw him go down, but then because you couldn't quite see properly why he went down, but then there was a fella next to me and he was like, there must be something there, because with the way VAR is now, you're not just going to go down for nothing in the box. So obviously, but then I think the play carried on for like another 30 seconds, and then somebody went down injured, and then obviously that's when they did the check. But like as that fella said, obviously there must have been something there, but obviously it was just like a weird one, because I thought the game had stopped for like an injury, because I thought he'd carried on the play, and it's only when they put it on the board on the big screen, that they were checking it, and then I was thinking that it's definitely a pen then, because that fella obviously said to me there must be some kind of contact for him to make that. Obviously he's not going to dive, is he? Because he'll just get...
he was going to get the ball, wasn't he? Because if he doesn't get tugged back, he's there for a tap-in.
Because he'd already had the one where Gray had danced around a couple of people and flashed it, and he was just off it. So, and he had a couple last week like that, and I thought, he's finding his feet here, and it was definitely a penalty.
It was 100% a penalty. I really don't understand Leeds fans on the internet saying it weren't, by the way, because if he doesn't get pulled back there, he's there for a tap-in. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know if he got, because I was in the ground, did he get booked or not for that? Because
he got booked. Oh, he should have been sent off.
He should have been sent off in the game. Because there was 3 or 4 after that, and nothing got done at all. So is it Liam Cooper?
Yeah, he came out after the game and he was like, we were both holding on to each other, and they were like, you weren't, mate. No. You might have been in the initial tussle, there might have been something, but when it came to the actual him going for the ball, he got his hands right round him, and then pulls his shit.
What I was disappointed though with, right, and I know Calvert-Lewin was at the ref saying that's a penalty, but nobody else is going around the referee there saying it was a Stonewall pen. It was a Stonewall penalty, and that's why when I was because the goal was like the other end of the pitch where it happened in the away end, we're in a back corner, and we just can't really know. That's why I didn't know if it was a pen or not, because like nobody's going around the referees, no appeals. And then next minute it says VAR check on the big screen behind you, and you're like, oh yeah. And then what I found interesting was, when it got given, it's shown the replay on the big screen.
Did
you know?
That was a good thing,
It's shown the replay
to justify it though. That obviously.
You were still more on the Leeds though, weren't you?
I hate VAR personally. I don't like it. When it was first introduced, like 2018 World Cup, it worked well because they were using it properly, and then in the Euros they used it well. Obviously last season in the league they were shocking, and obviously the season before, like, just not overusing it, I think. But now that they're actually shown on like the big screens, if the team has got a big screen, I like that, because at least then you can understand what's been given, and it gives it that justification. Whereas, like, I think that like a lot of their fans in the ground, I don't really remember them like sort of appealing it, because it's one of them where you can't argue with it. It's there in black and white on the screen. So
because I've always said that it's like a TV fan thing. you know, if it doesn't get shown in the ground, it's just there for TV.
No,
do you know what I mean? So you're at the ground and you're like,
you don't have any
what's happened?
knowledge.
It was like the Tottenham game in Goodison.
Yeah.
I don't know how many seasons ago that was now, but there was loads of stuff like that. And you're like, I think it was the Dele Alli handball on the Gladys Street. And like people are appealing and you're like, what's happened?
Yeah. I thought it worked perfectly because whether you need people going round them, I don't know. You should never have to have anyone go, and that was a penalty. The fella in the box up in the studio, whatever it is, should be able to spot that. He spotted it, and also the ref went over and looked at it, and that's perfect to me.
Really
if he didn't want to give it, I think there was one in a couple of other games over the weekend. I think there was one in the certainly one yesterday in the Arsenal game, wasn't it? Arsenal-Chelsea, where the ref was he checked it, but he never went over. There was another one this weekend though where he did go over and check it. It was the Villa game where he gave it. But was there one where he didn't give it? But anyway,
he didn't give the penalty.
He went over and checked it.
Was offside.
Yeah.
Oh, that was it. But there was other ones. If they go over and check on the screen, that's to me is perfect. If Everton get a penalty against him in that situation, and he's checked it himself, then it's on him. Then isn't the process is on him? The Leeds fans or the Cooper or whoever can moan all he wants. But if it's been double checked, if the fella's gone, go and have a little look at that again, you might have missed that. That's perfect VAR for me.
Oh, definitely. That's how it should be. That's how it should be.
So,
that's how it should be.
And then Dom, I made up Dom stepped up. Been saying for ages.
He should be our penalty taker.
Should be our penalty taker. I've said it before.
He'd have another 10 goals on his Everton.
England would have won the Euros if Jordan Henderson had let Dominic-Calvert-Lewin take the penalty in the friendly. Therefore, Jordan Henderson lost England the Euros. Cry your tears to him. Cry your tears to him. But I've seen him take pens before, and he's a brilliant penalty taker.
He took one in the shootout against Leicester, didn't he, at the Carabao Cup?
He took one.
He scored that one.
He took one for England against Wales as well. Was it Wales or Ireland?
There was, someone.
He's took. I've seen him take them for the under-21s, England 21s.
What I liked the most about his pen, right? The referee blew the whistle and he waited a good 5-6 seconds, just took his time,
but he said,
it just went bang.
He said though he didn't near it.
Didn't he?
He said he did near the whistle.
I'd rather him do that.
He said he did near the whistle. I mean, this is what makes it even more impressive. He said he did near the whistle, and he had to look at the ref to see if he. And he said, yeah, I've blown it. And he said, I actually had to reset myself and then take the pen out, like again mentally.
Because I thought it was just a penalty run up, you know, and he just waited.
No, this is what he said anyway. He said he did near it, and he looked, and the ref went take it, and then he said I reset. So that could put a lot of nerves on you.
Of course, and he took it really well.
And it was brilliant. It was a brilliant pen, dead clinical. I love Dom. Because people saying I don't. We'll get into that later, second half.
What I loved about that though and all, how he ran off shushing the Leeds fans, and then him and Mina doing a little dance.
That's what you want, isn't it? Big
quality.
Shit, Halsey, wherever you can get it.
Keep it up, please.
We go 1-0 up, and everything's cruising, and we're fine, and there's no problems till a nothing ball, like 4 minutes before our time. Ball down the middle. Michael Keane doesn't deal with it. Can't sort his feet out.
I don't know how.
And then I was watching this again last night. And so he makes a mistake, fine, everyone makes mistakes, but the reaction afterwards is just, so he makes a mistake and he's looking at Bamford on the ball, and the lad who scores is running past him on his left, and he's got no idea he's there. Yeah. And I know it's only a split second, but footballers...
His head just went down.
I said that at the match, that run of that, Click,
yeah.
When he ran through, not one player tracked him, not even, I know he was like the midfielder were sort of further forward, but not one player tracked that run. Even Keane, who made like the mistake, lost his foot, and he didn't even like have that split second reaction to go, he's running through there, I need to try and track back. He just sort of stood and watched him go past, and then obviously he scores from it.
Yeah, it's such a soft goal because mistakes made, players make mistakes, but you're right. Alan's sort of said in water, but Keane, if Keane just switches on to that run, at least then he can sort of tussle with him to put him off to get him there. Yeah. But he has such a clean run to get to the ball. He finishes it well, and you just like...
It just happens too many times.
Yeah, it happens too many times.
Too many times, and you can only make
mistakes. Not good. I mean, he's not good enough. He's not good enough. He never has been good enough. I've been saying it for
why are we giving him 5-year deals then?
Exactly. I've been saying, but I've been, you know, after the first season, personally, I knew myself.
He's let the ball go across him, and then even when it goes across him, he's closest to the ball.
Yeah.
So how's he lost the ball there? That's what I just don't get at all. You know what it was like? It was like his feet was caught in sinking sand. And he was like that going, oh. Do you know what I mean? But I've seen that, and it was like the Southampton was it last week? It's just not good enough. You need to... He can't play on Saturday against Brighton. I'm sorry,
I don't think
he won't, because Godfrey will be back up, won't he?
I think even if Godfrey makes that mistake, Godfrey's got the recovery pace.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, you've got to have that pace at the back. That's why Godfrey's number one, I think, alongside Mina.
Well, can we stop having a debate about Mina and Kayne?
No, it's not a debate.
Because Kayne Mina's 10 times a player of what Michael Kayne is. I'm sorry, he's probably our best defender. My only thing with Mina is, and it only come in last season, was will he play enough games? And what I mean by that is, when he gets injured,
he's out for
like 7 games, and it's normally via him doing some kind of over-mad stretch for a sliding tackle.
Well, that thing in the first half, and I was having a little dance with Patrick Bamford.
So they're our number one. Mina coming back on Saturday showed that he's definitely our number one centre-back. Yeah. And I think when Godfrey comes in, he'll take this place next to him.
When he's available.
Yeah, and hopefully that'll be tomorrow. Hopefully he'll play tomorrow and then play. Do
you know when he was back in training, Godfrey, or honestly?
No, I don't know. I don't know whether he will. But I think tomorrow's a perfect chance if he is available to put him in there for Saturday. And then hopefully once the international breaks over, we get all our players back. But they've got to be our number one partnership, because Mina's our best defender, like you've just said there. He's a ball magnet. He spots the danger. He deals with players. I mean, him and Bamford on Saturday, he just wound Bamford up all day.
In his hero game.
And Godfrey's got the recovery. So I don't even think Godfrey's not an outstanding defender. He's still learning because he's so fast and so strong.
He's got the physique.
He gets away with a lot.
We can go further up the pitch with Godfrey too, can't we?
Definitely.
So if we got Mina and Kayne and we're pushing up the pitch, the ball over the top, like the Anfield derby when we got beat 5-2 and Michael Kayne was centre half, and he just kept pinging balls over the top of his head. That's the good thing about Godfrey, because we can kind of play a higher line up the pitch, can't we? And that's how we get up the pitch.
But it was it's so annoying when you've worked so hard, keeping your shape,
I thought
playing well,
really good.
And then you give a goal away like that, and they're back in it, and they've got the backs are up, and it's just typical Everton. But we got to half time, we had that, like you just said there, what on earth Mina and Bamford was doing. Like, number one, I couldn't understand why Shane was coming past the ball to him there. What are you doing? Why are you going?
But Bamford was literally on Mina's toes.
There. And then Mina's trying to be clever, and obviously protecting them. And Mina actually does really well, because he goes down, gets up, plays it down the line, and then and I'm just like, but it was just the stupidity of, like, why are you picking up a booking for that? Like, you've got the whole of the second half. You know this fella. You know Bamford is going to be all over you, and he's going to be trying to wind you up. But I like what I like about Mina is I always feel like he's in control of the situation.
Yeah,
like he knows how far to go. And he knows never to go too far.
It's like your typical South American, though. All the South American players know what to do in them situations. They're the biggest wind-up merchants in the whole world.
He is brilliant. I honestly feel like if Mina could play every game, he'd be Everton fans would just idolise him, because he's got everything we love. It's just always that thing of, like, he never plays enough games. And to be honest, till last season, I never bought into that. It's just that last season, it was like, well, he had one at the end of the season before, didn't he? And then he came into the season and he was just picking up the odd little stupid injury, and you want to build something together.
I'll be honest with Mina, right at the first few seasons, I was a bag of nerves every time he got on the ball. But now I'm starting to feel a bit more confident when he's got the ball at his feet, because he always seems to find the pass. He doesn't look comfortable with the ball, but he always gets us out of a bit of danger. Better than what other centre-backs do anyway, I think. He's sound, me, and obviously they need to sort out the contract with him, because he's got less than 2 years left now. They need to sort that out. Definitely.
So we went in half time, obviously, and then I think coming out second half, I think probably everyone thought, Leeds will throw everything at us. But we were off from the start. 5 minutes in, the Corey you were saying before, the Corey on the edge of the box. We've got men left and right. And he plays one ball down the right, comes back to him, and he gets Gray in. And what I actually loved about this goal was, and I don't know what it was like for you, was I'm so surprised he scored, that it made the goal better.
I'll tell you one thing now about that goal, right? It reminded me of Richarlison's at Wolves. Game, because it was like on an angle, and the goal yesterday, he took his first touch was awful, and then got it out of his feet again, and I don't know how he found that corner.
Yeah.
And it was just like, you just didn't expect it to hit the back of the net, and that's what made it even better for me.
I was completely shocked by it, because he got it, and he sort of stood on the ball, but he then done nice, good movement with his feet, and I think that shocked him as well, shocked the goalie, because he took it quite early. And it was a lovely finish, and put us back in the lead, and
right in front of the away end.
Right in front of the away end. Terrible knee slide. Could have killed him. They could have killed him. That. But it was just nice to see a winger in a position to score a goal and score a goal. And for that £1.5 million, I think he's basically paid his money back now by scoring one goal.
Yeah, definitely. Like to be honest with Gray, right? When we signed him in Townsend, I'm not going to lie, I was a bit disappointed, because they're just squad players, the good squad players. But if they're going to be starting every week, it was a bit of a concern. But Gray's starting to prove me wrong, and I'd happily put my hands up to that. But what I'd say is with Gray, because I'm sorry, when he was at Leicester and Leverkusen, right, he starts off so well, and then he fades. So I really hope he keeps it up with us, because that was his problem with Leverkusen, especially when he went last year, didn't he? He started off, he scored a few goals early on, and then he fades out. So let's hope Benitez can just get the best out of him.
For me, you're absolutely right. I'm not sitting here going, oh, he's going to be amazing. I'm just like, let's see what happens.
Take it a game at a time, innit?
He feels like a Moyes buy, because we don't have anyone else in his position. So I feel like he will play all the time when he's fit, which means that he can go in waves. He might have a few off games, but in the last few years, one of our big problems is, because we've had so many players, the manager has had the opportunity to swap players out when they're in bad form. And that never used to happen with Moyes. Players that have bad form but would come back.
Yeah.
Because there was no one else to replace them. Moyes would trust them. Kale would go a few games off scoring or whatever. Yeah. Funny things, sort of similar to what I think the last player it happened to was someone like Steven Naismith, who people were just weren't sure about, and he played himself into the squad by getting harder, because Martinez don't think had too many other players in that position, and I think he could be the same. I think he'll have off days, but
everyone has off days,
but there's no one to replace him, so therefore he'll play loads of games, and I think he'll get better because of that.
He will play loads of games, because he can play anywhere across that front three. Because at times in the first half he was on the right, and then he had the chance in the first half too, when he cut inside the left and hit it across goal again for Calvert-Lewin. So he's having a fluid front three where players can chop and change. It's really good.
Ned, let's just look at his numbers. So touches 31, pass accuracy 92%, one goal, successful dribbles, 2 out of 4, so half of his dribbles and key passes, 1. And that he had one down the right, didn't he, from the first half, and in the left he had the one, the little 1-2, and he pulled it back for Dom, with Dom at 2-1, and Dom at the first time shot, and the keeper just saved it. So, two on the right there, but I think he had another one on the left as well. Yeah. So he's popping up all over the pitch. So instantly, I think fans will like him, because he's got some end product. I think.
He's already got a song in the away end.
There you go.
You know what I mean? So that's a good sign, though. It really is, because we don't sing many songs.
People like him.
Yeah, well, don't get me wrong. I really like how he started the season. You know what I mean? It's very refreshing to see players having a go going forward and stuff. But I do think we are a winger light still. I don't know why.
Yeah, well, some of wingers, Iwobi, obviously we talked about before, come under a lot of stick. Me. Give him loads of stick, because I think he's been absolutely terrible for 2 seasons. And I've got I think you buy a player for 30-odd million quid, you expect the player to turn up every week. Yeah. And funny enough, what Demarai Gray showed in 2 games is what you would expect.
He's done more than what Iwobi's done in Everton already.
You expect Iwobi to put in just a few flashes like that. I know they're different kind of players, but Iwobi, when he came on last week, was sound. When I was at the match, I was like, I hate Iwobi head on, so I didn't quite see it. It wasn't until I was watching
he's been all right.
Which you get with some plays. You watch them in real time, and you're like, and then you watch it again and go, oh God, he was actually better than what I thought. Whereas Saturday, Iwobi was sound, kept the shape, and that one chance he created, Dan, for Dominic-Calvert-Lewin,
Great ball.
That was a brilliant, wasn't it?
Unbelievable ball. Like that's the thing though that we have been missing, I'd say, for the last maybe 2-3 seasons. Somebody who can just play that nice little weighted pass through. Like we haven't, other than like Rodriguez last year, who obviously wasn't there for the full season with injuries. We haven't got anybody in that. That's, I was thinking, like with our style of play, we seem to be obviously using the width now. Whether Iwobi will start to play through the middle if he's trusted by the manager to, play in that sort of kind of striker role. If we're going to play like a 5 in midfield or a 3 in midfield, if he's going to start playing either out wide like he has been doing the last 2 games, or whether he's going to start moving him inside, because I think he's got the ability to pick a pass. He's got the vision. It's just, I don't know whether it's our style of play, the managers over the last few seasons, whether they just haven't used him in the right system or not. But I don't know. I just think he's got I think he's got the ability there. He's got the vision there to make, to pick passes like that. It's just whether, is he going to be trusted to sort of play?
I don't think he's an Everton player, mate.
I agree with you, Dan. There, I think he's a player who suits a certain style of play that we haven't played.
Yeah.
I think he's a player who needs players on his wavelength, rather than him adapting to other styles. You have to make, like, he would be a typical player who goes somewhere, the team would be built around him, and he'd be brilliant.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact. He'll go somewhere, if he left Everton, he'd be brilliant. But I thought that pass, and it's horrible that you're picking out one little moment, because with Gray, you go, he did this and he did that, and he's buzzing and he's a live wire, and it's almost shows about Iwobi that we're almost picking little moments where you went, he did this boss thing, where you're just like, we want you to be more part of the game all the time. It shouldn't just be about the little moments. But the ball was fantastic, and you want to see more of that. Because what I thought was brilliant there, he just made one little move inside and one threaded ball, and Dom was on the wavelength and he was in. Yeah. And unfortunately, Dom couldn't finish it. But what do you make about, Kayne? What do you make about Dom and that finish? Because I said on Saturday, he's got to finish those goals for me. He's got to. And I know a lot of people defend him because they love him, and I love him. I love Dom. But you can't keep defending somebody when there's a chance there to make it 3-1. I'm not having a go at him. I'm not saying I don't want him or I want someone else. But he's got to start taking those. If he wants to be a 30-goal striker a season, he has to take those chances.
Well, I'll just get this off my chest first. He's come on brilliantly at us. He's been really, really good. Since Koeman playing him at right wing back and all stuff like that, I've seen a massive improvement since Ferguson took over when Silva went. And on from then, he's keeps going up and up a level. But if he wants to go on to being one of the best strikers in the Premier League, they're the chances you take all day. And what I'll say is, it reminded me of when we played Arsenal away. He scored a great overhead kick and then misses 5 chances after it.
That header near the end,
So if Everton want to go on a journey to get into Europe and he wants to be the main man, he needs to start taking chances like that. Don't get me wrong, he had a really good game on Saturday. He held the ball up and he put himself about. But it comes down to moments what win you the games. And the ball from Iwobi, perfect, and he needs to think the keeper.
What's funny is, and I'm not comparing the two players, by the way, but we were talking off air before, and we were talking about Lukaku, and you were saying you love him, Dan was saying, I don't really like him. Well, he didn't say, he said something worse.
Good player, I don't like him.
But you said, what you said was funny though, because you said, but he's the kind of player who'd score like the 3rd goal when you win 3-0. It's like, the goal that means that you've won the game, or takes the pressure off you, like. And that's, if Dom could be the person who does that, like he scored 2 and 2, it's brilliant. What I'm saying is, if he scores that goal and we go 3-1 up,
game's gone.
The game's finished. Last season we went to Leeds, don't forget, and he had a chance at 2-1, exactly the same to make it 3-1, and the game would have been over. West Brom, he had a similar chance. He could take his tally up by another 10 goals a season if he knew how to dink goalies. And this is not like, I'm not sitting here going, get rid of him all. Not at all. Really what I'm saying is that he gets himself in those positions. He just has to either start relaxing or just working on it or whatever it is. Think against Crystal Palace at the end of the season, we were 1-0 up. a big game where we end up drawing it, and I think he had another similar chance where he had a chance and he hit it straight at the goalkeeper. And he's just got to start relaxing in front of goal a little bit more. And as I say, it's not I'm not sitting here going, he's the reason we didn't win the game, because that's not true at all, by the way. But he could have won us the game, and I think himself, and I only say this as someone who know that in training today, he'll be thinking, how can I improve on scoring those goals? And that's it. It's about self-improvement. He's worked on everything else. Heading, his physicality, his leap.
Well, he weren't a striker at first in his career, was he? So, if you think about it, his development's coming on late as he goes on in his career. So, listen, I've got faith in him. I really do think he'll eventually score them types of goals. I think the more games you play, the more things you go through, the more things you learn to score goals like that. Like, it sounds so stupid, but like getting the basics is just put the ball in the back of the net there. It's frustrating, but eventually I do think he'll get there. What I will say is, Lukaku at first, he had a great season on loan. The second one, 14-15 season, he did struggle in the league. Maybe he needs to go through a little phase of that. And you know what I mean?
Also, I also think that he may be like thinking, well, I won't get as many. Doesn't get loads of chances for Everton. And maybe if we start giving him more chances, the more opportunities. It's weird with strikers. The more opportunities these get, the more likely they are the first one to score it anyway. Because they're like, you know what I mean? Like, you look like a Man City team and you know how many chances. Aguero would have just been like, every time, I'll just treat this like training, because I'm going to get another 6 chances. And the first one he gets, pings it in without any issues, because it's like in training. Because Dom will be scoring them in training all day. But when it's like a proper game situation, you think, oh, I'm going to get another chance. Might tense up a little bit. But if you're like a club at Man City or whoever, you just take that for granted and you're just pinging them in all day. And that's why, you know, good strikers who play for big teams tend to score a lot more goals. Not because they get more chances, because they know they're going to get more chances.
It'll definitely come in more games. I'm really confident, because I remember the goal in the United game in the Carabao Cup in lockdown, and they were doing the warm-ups in front of us, and the first thing I noticed, like, from not going to the game so long, is how he was just like finishing every shot in the warm-up, and it was a massive difference to me, because I'd never normally see that from him. So I think he'll eventually get there.
Let's have a look at his numbers. 38 touches, pass accuracy 78%, goals 1, duels 7 out of 18, 2 key passes. So his all-round game's good, and he's not fit either. The manager said that he's not been trained. He's got this toe injury. Hopefully he gets through the next couple of games. If he plays, I don't know if he'll play against Huddersfield, and then maybe he'll pull out the England squad, but probably he won't. But just get back to fitness, basically. But that could have got us to 3-1. It didn't. And then, you know, the goal, they made a couple. See, actually, out there making those subs was a pivotal moment as well. They made a couple of subs. They changed the shape. They freshened it up, and they started to get on top of us and just start putting a little bit of. They started putting pressure on us.
Yeah.
And I actually thought this is where Benitez may have got it wrong. Not allowed to call him Rafa, by the way. You can only call him Benitez at the moment. Upsets people.
I just call him the manager.
Yeah, it's
the manager for me too.
I just think that maybe he should have looked at bringing a sub on a couple of minutes earlier, because you could see they were putting the pressure on.
They were going further.
They were getting further up and further up.
Yeah.
They had that cross. It actually started with that cross shot that Pickford had to push out. Then they got a corner from it. The corner got recycled. But I thought he should have maybe looked to have brought a sub on at that point, because the Delph sub worked brilliantly. When he brought Delph on, it stopped them in midfield, and we started getting control of it. And whether people like Delph or not, I certainly don't like his Instagram. But when he came on, we got control of the midfield, and we started pushing them back. And I just thought if he'd maybe made that sub a couple of minutes before, we would have. Well, just after they'd made their sub, because you know they're fit. And if the game in the first half was 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, it was.
Nuts.
It was like the game in lockdown and all, I thought. It was literally the same.
It was
nuts.
nuts. But the goal itself, Jesus Christ, it's abysmal. It's absolutely abysmal.
I was saying that, but like, talking about like Calvert-Lewin, he probably should have won us the game, but at the same time, the defenders have messed that, because both of their goals obviously have come from two. In my opinion, the second one was also like they should. That ball, when that ball's coming into the box, you've got Kayne, who's a big lad. Mina's 6'5". I think Lucas Dean was in. There was like three
defenders,
and they needed one of them defenders needs to win that ball that comes into the box. But I think it was Bamford ended up chesting it down and laying it off.
See, I thought it was on ball.
I haven't really.
I thought it was on ball. I think it hits him there. I think it hits him there. But the fact that the ball comes into the box, it comes from outside the box really deep.
Yeah,
it
should be out of the box.
And it drops on his arm, and then he manages to control it and he knocks it. And don't get me wrong, the finish is unbelievable. I'll take not away from can't do nothing about that. But the fact that that ball, the three players are like, they're all like that. It's like when the sun's in your eyes.
Yeah,
they're all like that, falling backwards. And Bamford somehow manages to get it. And you're right, you want someone there to be dominant and just going,
take that out.
I mean, it was unfortunate. It was too far out for Pickford to come and do something about it. You wouldn't want him out there. But you can't have the ball dropping like that. And again, it's a poxy mistake. Leads to what is a great finish. Don't get me wrong, a great finish.
That was really good. Really good finish.
Yeah, that's the most frustrating thing though, because then even though we obviously won against Southampton, it's again the defensive mistake against Southampton. It's 3 goals there, which have been our own doing. Not them being so good that they've scored. It's we've given goals away, and that's the most frustrating thing. We need to tighten up at the back and be more organised.
Definitely. And as I said, I think if he'd made a sub just a couple of minutes earlier to take the sting out the game and get a grip of it, I think.
Did Delph come on after they scored the second?
He come on afterwards.
Because that's when it started. They couldn't get back in the game.
But they at 2-2, you're thinking. Only going to be one winner.
We had control of it, I thought.
But it didn't work like that, because once we got Delph on the pitch, we completely stopped them playing. And in those last few minutes, obviously I watching on TV, the commentator was like, anyone could win it, but we were relentless. We were winning the ball. Alan and Demarai and Delph were winning the ball back and getting us going. And I think the only other thing was, I think I would have took Richarlison off as well, because he looked knackered. He was starting to make those silly... he was starting to make poor decisions. Yeah. I think I would have left Dom on and took him off, because he was just starting to make little silly decisions.
There was one near the end where he had the ball and he was running on like the edge of the box, and he tried to take on, I think it might have been Ailing or someone. Yeah. And instead of like maybe looking for another option to play the ball, he tried to take him on and then losing the possession. He just ran in a really good position. So,
and he'd had one where he'd had a shot that had just gone wide just after they'd scored as well, just curled it wide. And then obviously Moise Keane had come on. I think Moise Keane probably should have maybe come on 5 minutes earlier. Probably wasn't warmed up enough.
No, he wasn't. No names.
Probably wasn't warmed up enough. But there was that chance. I don't know whether you thought this was in, but there was a chance.
Oh my God,
the Corey hits it across. And it looks like, at first, I'm thinking Keane, that's come off Keane. And it didn't come off Cooper, I think. Who shouldn't have been on the pitch, by the way. Should have got a second
should have got sent off. There was 3 or 4
and
after they got
literally went wide by that much. And I'm thinking, if Keane had been on the pitch a couple of minutes earlier, could have got there first, he would have died.
It's because the angle we were on and all, because we're at the side of the pitch.
But even on TV, you couldn't tell. Even on telly, you couldn't tell. It looked like it was in.
Because it was the left side of the goal, and it just literally fizzed wide.
And then obviously...
And there was the Richarlison one and all, what he hit, and it just went wide too.
And then there was the one with Coleman. Why was Coleman shooting with his left
foot? I know.
What are you doing? Dean was there.
Yeah, thank you.
Dean was there.
He literally could have just knocked him in.
Yeah. Dean could have either gone in and had a shot or clipped one in.
Coleman hasn't even got a right foot, never mind.
I know. What are you doing? And then obviously we got like the last minute sort of antics where I think they got a set piece. So first of all, there was a header, and then Delph went. Oh no, there was a ball came in. It looked like it'd been blocked, but he had his arms like that, and they checked it on VAR as well, by the way. So if you're watching on telly, and they're like, "We're checking this one," and then Delph throws himself in for a tackle, and you're just like, "Oh my God!"
Yeah.
And then the ball comes back in, and then Bamford, Mina wins a header against Bamford. Then Bamford's cry arson that he was holding on to him. Oh my God!
Well, you know, for that, right? I don't know if you knew, but when Bamford and Mina went in for that at the end, and the whistle went straight after, didn't it? Referee was like that.
No, I know.
Right. And all of these were walking off, and I was going, wait, might call a penalty.
I know, there was even a suggestion. There was even a suggestion.
Because he was like that on the edge, and all the Leeds players were like that.
It was a suggestion that they were going to give like a penalty.
I was saying to all of our mates there, wait, don't go yet, because you might give a penny.
Yeah, there was like a suggestion that they were going to give a penalty, and it was going to be like, that was going to be the last kick, literally, in the game. And then he was like, no.
Could they do that though?
Yeah, they've done it before. Did it in Germany?
Yeah.
Only
like
us.
Only us. Yeah. So, no, it was a hard fought point, but I think what was good about it is that you can see there's more to come from this team. But it's interesting that it's you clearly like this style of play, but you don't like the manager. But it definitely feels more of an Everton way of playing.
Definitely. I like positives for me from the difference from last season is the midfielders getting forward, the core, Alan, actually looking like they're involved in the game for me.
I like that.
Going forward. I like that.
I think what we've done is we've substituted the midfielders going forward with more than the fullbacks going forward. I think Coleman was quite reserved on Saturday. I don't think he had to go forward. I don't think Dean went as forward as much. Didn't actually think Dean had a very good game, but I don't think he was going forward as much. So I think what we've done is he's saying to the fullbacks, you stay back and we'll just have to send midfielders going a little bit more because we don't have to. We've got those wingers who are interchanging, and it was a good point. But there's hopefully more to come. We look at least like in the summer, and you're like when people are like we're in trouble here. We look like a team at least.
We definitely look like a team, Ped, right? But what it is for me, right? We started last season, won the first 5 or 6 games, and everyone's like on cloud 9, top of the league, right? And all songs are in the iTunes charts, right? But it goes back to going into January, February, March. I always say it to him. They are the times where the wheels fall off with Everton. So it's all right starting great. So let's keep it going. Let's take it a game at a time. Let's be consistent and get a run going.
But I think it does not help, but because there is a resistance to fall for the manager, there is that thing of like no one's going to do that. No one's going to go, this is amazing. Everyone's like, people like Gray, people are going to go, well, let's just see what happens. None of the players we've brought in are the players where you go, we know he's amazing. It's like Townsend or whatever. No one's going to go, we know he's amazing or we know Gray. Because it's like you said before, it's like Gray starts well everywhere. So let's just see how it goes. And it's the same with Benitez. People are like, all right, well, let's see where it goes. No one's going to start going, we've done brilliantly. If we beat Brighton, no one's going to go, we're amazing. Yeah. People are going to go, all right, it's been a good start. Yeah. And I think that...
But I think personally, for me, I'll be like that. Say we're 2nd and 3rd again out over Christmas. Yeah. And it's nothing to do with the manager, by the way. It's down to what's happened in previous years. Right? So if we're in Christmas and we're 2nd and 3rd, and I don't want to sound negative, but... I just want to get it to April and May, and we've literally got a chance, and that's when it matters. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Because it's always been a mentality problem for me. When it's the important games, we always crumble.
Yeah. Now let's have a look at the stats. So I mean, the mad stat of the game is that we only had. I mean, you've put 30% there now, but I think it was more like 23. I think you've got that completely wrong.
I couldn't believe
you've gone full Joe. 17 shots, 8 shots on target for an away game. That's brilliant.
More shots than Leeds on target.
2 big chances 2. They had 1. 7. I mean, I'm sure it was more than 7, but there you go. I'm sure.
Did Leeds have 4 shots on target? Pickford didn't even have a save to make. 2 goals.
P-rollers. They had 606 completed passes.
Most of their shots, if you remember, they were either wide or
outside the box.
Like just snatching at the shots, really, because that was the thing. We set up in a way, like I think we do need to be more organised at the back, but we set up really, really well. We stopped them from playing, and I think teams like that, that's how you need to sit deep and then hit them on the break.
Counter-attack. We've got the plays for counter-attack, so there you go. Big thanks to the lads for joining us on this one. We're going to stay on for a little bit longer over on Patreon to answer some of the questions. So, if you're watching this live on Patreon, stick around. If not, join us on Patreon. It's sound. The link's in the description. Kane's been like, you've been a patron since before Patreon.
Yeah.
That's how long he's been a patron.
Since it got made.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
There you go. Check that out. But big thanks for joining us. Leave this a like on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And we'll see you later. Bring us back, Ned. Ned, what are you doing getting this?